the common denominator is expulsion. From expelling the Attorney General and the Secretary, rather the Solicitor General, then the Secretary, Council Philip Munabi, expelled the President and his Vice. Then the President convened an emergency meeting and expelled the Secretary. How worse can it get? I'm joined by Council Jude Biamukama. Council, for starters, a very good morning.
Good morning.
Where do you fall? Are you pro Semakade, pro Munabi?
I'm not pro Semakade, I'm not pro Munabi. I'm a member of Uganda Law Society, and our membership is well known because we elected. Our president is Isaac Semakade, our vice president is Asimwe, our treasurer is Isiko Arthur. These are our leaders. And there is this idea that they have been overthrown is just comedy, and the public should reject it with the contempt it deserves. Our leaders can have some disagreements, that's okay. But for one individual member, a secretary of council, to sit with one other member and purport to write some document full of grammatical errors, by the way, and then saturate it and claim that they are now a caretaker committee is not just laughable. It is a comedy of the highest proportions, and the public should reject it. Uganda Law Society is governed by an act of parliament.
In essence,
we elect our leaders.
In essence, what is controversial here? Is it the legality or the illegality of the expulsion?
I think the litany of not just illegalities, but comic errors that Mr. Munabi is trying to indulge himself in. Obviously, it's unfortunate, but it's not surprising as well. You know, when you look at the Uganda Law Society Act, it provides the criteria, even a minimum criteria for someone to be eligible to stand for president. And I think that was one of the reasons. You need to have been a member for at least 8 years. Mr. Philip Munabi doesn't even fulfill that criteria, so it's not a surprise that would engage in all sorts of unforced, unnecessary, and comic errors.
Okay, when you go by the letter, expelling Semakade, Mr. Philip Munabi imposed himself as the acting president,
yes,
the in charge of ULS. You want to suggest that you don't recognize him?
It's not that I don't recognize him. Nobody recognizes him. Maybe when he sits in his room, he recognizes himself, but no one recognizes him. For the simple reason is that a president is elected. The procedure for removal of a president is provided for in the Uganda Law Society Act. So if you wanted to remove a president, you have to convene an extraordinary general meeting and let the members pass a resolution removing the president. It's provided for in the law. It's in black and white. This idea that one individual can sit down in his room and write a document and then because of the power of social media and then saturate it all over the place, and that amounts to a coup. It's even, I don't know whether we should even be calling it a coup. It's just some bit of comedy that the gentleman has chosen to indulge himself in.
What is ironical now is that there is an expelled president and an expelled secretary, all purporting to be in leadership.
No. Just to clarify, if you read the statement from our elected leadership from Uganda Law Society, they have not expelled Mr. Philip Munabi. They have simply suspended him from office to pave way for a meeting on the 17th of December for the members to decide. At the end of the day, the members of Uganda Law Society, by the way, we are the ones who elect our leadership. Okay? We can choose to meet and remove Semakade. We can choose to meet and remove Philip Munabi. We can choose to meet and maintain all of them in office.
The key subject here, everything now emanates from the conduct of the president. Do you approve of the conduct and the unpalatable words that the president has often used towards big officials?
I think when we talk about the conduct of the president, we have to be specific.
The indecorousness of the president.
One, when the members were electing him, as you know, he was elected by almost over 70% of the membership. When they were on notice, they knew they were electing him. He does not have a high regard for decorum. because he insists that we have way bigger problems than losing sleep about decorum. That having been said, of course, the majority, quite a number of us, do not approve of his figures of speech that he has chosen to use. Not many of us approve of his colorful language. That's a different issue. But at the end of the day...
It is an issue, isn't it?
As far as I'm concerned, that should not even be an issue. We have had countries with presidents who use such colorful language. Even the American president-elect Donald Trump, if you have followed his social media handle for the last several years, occasionally he uses very colorful language as well. We had the president of the Philippines, was it Rodrigo Duterte, some years back, who also used very colorful language similar to Mr. Isaac Semuakade's language. It's not right, okay? I'm not saying that language is okay and that's why the members voted for him. The members didn't vote for him because of his language. I want to imagine, at least the good number that I've interacted with, they voted for him not because of his colorful language, but in spite of his colorful language. They voted for him not because they say, aha, this is the best, this is what we wanted. But for them, they say, well, in spite of all this, this is the best we have. If you remember, one of the Makerere Law lecturers, Dr. Businje Kabumba, wrote a lengthy article in his column in the Weekly Observer, in which he pointed out that he would be voting for Semuakade, and he still had some bit of doubt. They don't know whether it's going to be, whether it will turn out to be the correct decision which they want to regret. But he was sure that if we don't vote for him, we'll be in a worse situation. And maybe that's where we should focus. How did we end up in a situation where members decided that decorum in their president is not going to be a big deal anymore?
Okay.
That's where we should focus.
And how, I think you should also be focusing as lawyers on how you've gotten to the extent that an organization, an entity that's been around for 68 years is now plunged into a very deep crisis with the new administration that's been in office barely 100 days.
Yeah. First of all, I don't think there's a crisis. It's not a crisis.
There is a crisis. The center can no longer hold.
No. Two individuals cannot cause a crisis. Actually, I heard you even calling it, there are two factions. There are no factions. Two individuals cannot constitute a faction. For you to have a faction, if maybe our leadership was split in the middle, then you could argue and say, yeah, there is a faction, there is a crisis. But the idea that two members can bring activities of law society to a halt is not going to happen. And unless they are able to...
Do you discount the power of a president, of the secretary of the Uganda Law Society?
The secretary, by the way, even when you look at the Uganda Law Society Act, in the ranking of positions, you have the president, followed by the vice president, and followed by the treasurer, not even by the secretary, but by the treasurer. The secretary comes after the treasurer. So even if there was to be, let's say, a lawful removal of the president and vice president, the next most high-ranking member would be the treasurer, not the secretary. So surely, Mr. Philip Munabi, whom I hope he can join us.
He will be joining us. He will be joining us. But
he cannot be imposing himself and then creating something he's calling a caretaker committee. This is just ridiculous comedy. And if our president, Mr. Isaac Semuakade, is being criticized over his speech and perceived lack of decorum, I think Philip Munabi has done way worse. Way worse.
Have you taken time to analyze some of the critical issues that he raises in his letter about the state of affairs and how weighty are the issues?
There is nothing weighty. There is a reason why the leadership, why the members overwhelmingly chose to elect Isaac Semuakade. And you see, what we consider to be our issues as members are different from what Philip Munabi is trying to articulate. Members are worried about the deteriorating rule of law in the country. Members are worried about the continued disregard for human rights in the country. Members are worried about independence of the judiciary. Those are weighty concerns which members are worried about.
No, but
Members are not,
I thought members would equally be worried about the frosty relations between Uganda Law Society now and the Attorney General's office. Attorney General is the head of the bar, but he can no longer relate with the Uganda Law Society.
first of all, by the way, that's also something we need to put in its context. The Attorney General, you have to remember that the Uganda Law Society Act was enacted in 1956. That was way before independence. And when the Attorney General was made a head of the bar, clearly what the British colonial government had in mind for the legal profession is not what we understand the legal profession to be. World over, the legal profession exists outside the executive. It's supposed to be independent of the executive. Why?
Yes.
Lawyers, by the nature of our calling, we are divided into two groups. Okay, we have lawyers in private practice, what we call private practice. We have lawyers in the public sector. There are those lawyers, our colleagues, whose job is to do the bidding of government, to represent the legal interests of government. Okay. Then there are those of us whose job is to represent the interests of private individuals and institutions as opposed to the government. So when you get the lawyer who is the chief legal advisor of government, and you make him the head of the bar, which is supposed to be representing interests of these other people outside the government, obviously you create a conflict. And no wonder almost all attorney generals have really not bothered with the affairs of Uganda Law Society. Even the incumbent, the Honorable Chigowa Chwanuka.
It doesn't take away their entitlement as heads of the bar.
It doesn't, but we have to bear in mind that is this what, when we look at our Uganda Law Society Act, this law with these colonial provisions, is this what we want for our bar? And even the Attorney General himself, when you read his lengthy communication to the Uganda Law Society, he points out that the Attorney General is conscripted into Uganda Law Society. And in fact,
so it was more of a relief.
That's what I suspect.
But the execution, its execution was irregularly handled. The executive,
maybe what
the arbitrariness in which
Simon,
can be issues executive orders
no, Simon, maybe
is an issue in contention.
Here we need to be a bit careful because, as you may be aware, two of our members took the Uganda Law Society to court over that very issue, and the sub judice rule prohibits us from debating the merits and the demerits of whether that expulsion was lawful, whether it was not lawful, whether it was done in accordance with the procedure or not procedure. Those two are before the court of law, are before Justice Esther Nambayo of the Civil Division of the High Court, and they will be addressed there. So let us not violate the sub judice rule.
Well, very interesting. I want to welcome at this juncture the co-leader of the Uganda Law Society.
The botched coup.
So,
where things stand, what is your position?
My position in Uganda Law Society.
Counsel Philip Munabi.
Address me properly. I'm Philip Munabi, SC.
Well,
I am the caretaker chairman of the leadership situation in ULS right now.
On whose mandate?
On whose mandate? Now, I want you to read between the lines. On 28th, we were voted into power. It was a protest vote, just like they call it. It was a protest vote. Read the order I gave. We are a radical new bar. The protest vote on 28th was on the leadership crisis in Uganda. You get it? Which needed to bring to order. Now, right now, when we enter council, we should understand that we have entered leadership. But if the established rule of the day we have put in place is executive orders, then we should face the tune.
Okay. In which capacity did you issue an executive order yourself?
As secretary. I want my brother here to understand.
Do you have the mandate?
Yes.
Ask him who gave him the mandate?
Who gives you the mandate?
On 28th of September, Mr. Jude, we went. Did you vote on 28th?
Yes, I voted.
Which positions did you vote for?
I voted for president, I voted for vice president, I didn't vote for secretary, I didn't vote for treasurer.
Then you have an issue.
No, but you
No,
see,
this is the
serious.
problem you have in democracy.
Okay.
We set an election, and all the positions. Mr. Jude,
You're going to come in.
Mr. Jude, just a minute. All the positions that you're talking about are elective.
Have a paper.
They are elective. In a membership of 5,800, only 2 people stood for the position of secretary. 2 people. It should now tell you that that is a leadership issue among the lawyers. 2 people stood up to contest.
Okay.
It is absurd that Mr. Jude here did not vote for secretary.
So-
but let me tell my member, understand. Secretary is an elective position.
Fine.
And among my duties as secretary,
So does secretary give you that mandate?
I communicate. It is under my duties that I also signed for when picking nomination forms. My roles are clearly stipulated. What has happened is now imperial hangovers that we are bringing on memberships. That we bring people like Mr. Jude to make the membership think that they voted an alliance. It was not an alliance.
Okay.
Over 1,800 members voted me into power. That is overwhelming.
Granted.
And I speak for the membership.
Understandable.
Yes,
Understandable.
yes, Mr.
You are meant to communicate the position of council.
To the membership.
Not your solitary or just
Now,
to people
what does that
thinking
tell you?
on their whims. and
What
they
does
wake
that
up
tell you? Listen, what does that tell you? That when the secretary, who is the convener of council meetings, communicates a position, the members should understand that was a council
No, but
position.
it's not binding.
It's not binding.
As we speak,
I challenge Mr. Jude here. To produce the minutes of that alleged online meeting they had. I challenge him to produce. He's a member. Let him ask for it. I am the secretary. Even when they claim to have convened that meeting, I would have had notice. Now, what is happening? What is happening is that we are breeding bad leadership internally.
No, Simon, maybe
Okay.
I think he has made his point. Let's go through. Members elected leadership, okay?
Yes.
By the way, personally, I didn't even participate I did not participate in that election. I was not even there. But what we know is we vote. No, I actually did not.
Okay.
I was just trying to poke Philip because when someone comes here and starts saying he's a caretaker leader, a non-existent position in Uganda Law Society. But let's focus.
Hold on.
Let's focus.
We are a radical new
No. Philip, if you disrupt him, we shall not have a.
If you can rest your radicalism. And
Yes.
we
Now, you see,
now
this is what
talk
happens.
with decorum.
Uganda Law Society has a leadership, okay? You have a president, you have a vice president, you have a treasurer, you have a secretary, and then you have 4 representatives who are divided into the different regions. One for Western Uganda, Eastern Uganda, Northern Uganda, and then the Central. Each of those positions is voted for individually.
Exactly. Not an alliance.
Each of those positions is voted for. The Uganda Law Society Act gives responsibilities. And by the way, maybe this is why we would still chip in. What the law provides is all these are elected positions, except the position of Attorney General and Solicitor General, which, as I've said, those will be debated before the courts of law. So let's not disrespect our courts of law. I think they'll deal with that. We elected a president. The members elected a vice president, elected a treasurer, elected Philip as a secretary, and then elected representatives. The council works as a whole when they are working. Okay. Now, when they have a disagreement as council, of course they put it to vote because they are a whole. They are one body. They'll put it to vote. Now let's come to what Philip and the comedy is trying to do.
Comedy.
Yes, it's comedy. There is nothing illegal about it, and I'm sure he knows
You're going to
as
come
well.
in, Philip.
And I'm
in
sure
a
he knows
second.
it as well. So Philip sits with one council member. If there are others, he's going to tell us, but for sure they are not there. And then they purport to author a document expelling the president, expelling the vice president, and then and taking advantage of the beauty of social media, he saturates it all over the place. saying he has expelled the president and the vice president.
Well, Philip, you may come in.
Okay, Mr. Kagwanjala, I want to understand. Is he speaking as President, Uganda Law Society?
I'm speaking as a member of
You're
Uganda Law
speaking
Society.
as a member.
I'm a member.
There are a couple of
Are you
statements.
alive to the minutes of the online meeting that was held yesterday?
Yes, I'm alive.
Do you have them?
Oh, yes, I have.
I
them.
want to inform you.
Maybe Simon should put them for you on the screen.
I want to inform.
You have not seen them?
Now that
They
is the issue.
electronically.
Yes.
I'm the
generated-
secretary.
I'm even
Listen,
surprised.
I'm
He
the
thinks-
secretary. I received no notice of that meeting. Among my duties as a
But you
secretary,
are not a
I
secretary.
convene.
Why would they call you?
Listen,
Why would they call you?
I convene the meetings of council. I got no notice. It means whether it was there or not, that was a predetermined decision to come up with their position.
but-
Because you had gone wrong. Philip, you had
But
gone wrong.
even the circumstances under which you issued the
Mr.
statement.
Kagwanjala,
The gentleman had gone wrong. Why would they call him?
If you set the tune, dance to it. But now, what should it tell you? What should it tell you? Or what should it tell our members? That the experiment on leadership that we had has failed.
You're actually right.
Come in.
Exactly.
Hold
If
it.
you
The
agree with me.
experiment on
Hold it.
secretary. When
If
we
you
come to
agree with
secretary,
me.
when we come to secretary,
Hold it, Jude.
obviously the members need to be given opportunity to choose
hold
the
it,
secretary.
Jude.
You
That
see,
is
what
true.
it calls for,
I agree with
what
you.
it calls for is that the leader that we have should be able to lead himself. What should be happening right now, or what could have happened, if you are a leader who understands that there is crisis into your council, what do you call for? Either reconciliation or have a small meeting to mediate your matter.
Okay, let's focus on
Let
the
us
letter of
understand.
expulsion that you wrote.
Let's first
Did you seek
understand.
consensus of members of council?
Yes.
Which members?
Which
Which members?
Are you a council member?
No, tell us, tell us,
which
tell us.
members?
Are you
Which
council
members?
member?
Which members?
Members of council. I'm
Mention their
speaking for
names.
council.
No, mention their
I am
names.
speaking for council.
Because when I look at the letter,
Mention their
Yes.
names.
when I look at the letter from the other faction, okay, I would say from the mainstream.
No, from the leadership, not
From
a
the
faction. It's
leadership.
not a you can't have a faction of two people. That's not a faction.
The leadership has four members,
No, these are five.
5 members, including the president, the treasurer, and
Actually,
3
actually
others.
6. There are 6.
So you are only 2 people.
We are 8
Is-
people on council.
yes.
Yeah.
So 6 against 2.
He's meaning those who subscribe to your
Inform
document.
him. That's why I've told you.
Look at the signatures down.
I challenge you. I challenge you to produce the minutes.
Those are, you mean those are
I
not
challenge
minutes?
you to
Those are
produce the
minutes.
minutes
Mr. Munabi,
of
those
the-
are
of that
minutes.
meeting.
Okay. How was your
Philip,
resolution
those are
born?
minutes.
How was your resolution born?
Mr. Simon Kagwanjala,
Yes.
you're veering off the road.
No, I'm just asking.
A coup in Uganda Law Society just informs you that the leadership experiment has failed.
No,
Uganda Law
that's not-
Society.
that's not a
Mr.
coup.
Jude,
Jude,
Mr.
hold
Jude,
it. Jude,
Mr.
hold
Jude,
it, please.
I don't know under what capacity you're here. You're a member who
I'm
is
a member,
concerned,
yes, I'm here
and
as
I
a member.
understand that.
Hey.
You get it. But let us understand what
But I
Uganda
think
Law-
I should also
And we
say I'm
should-
the president.
You
Listen.
should listen to your acting president.
Listen, we should understand what Uganda Law Society is. We work with different stakeholders. The build-up to that letter arose out of the demands by the so many entities that called for an apology from the president of Uganda Law Society, defunct president, Mr. Semakadi.
The current
who cannot
president. No,
even
no, he's
come
the
here.
president.
Who cannot even
I
come
think
here.
that's an insult to,
No.
to the numbers
Philip,
that
this is
voted
a-
for
this
you.
is a national
if
TV. huh?
Mr. Jude,
Decorum. He's
if
already,
Mr.
he can't also referring to
Okay,
meet decorum.
Jude, allow
if
him.
Mr.
Allow
Jude,
him.
if
Allow him.
Mr. Jude accepts that the president of Uganda Law Society is the spokesperson of Uganda Law Society, then Mr. Semakade would be here or should be here to
We
communicate.
didn't invite him. He's sick.
Why?
He's on sick leave.
Why?
He's on sick leave.
Because you see, that's what I've been telling you. When you become a leader, it means you have to build consensus.
You shouldn't fall sick when you become a leader.
You need to build consensus.
Eh.
You need to build
Okay.
consensus.
You,
with
you have
different
not answered.
stakeholders.
You've not responded to the question.
The council
How
members.
did you
we need to
generate
know.
The legalities,
controversial letter?
listen, the legalities that lead up to all the orders that you have been seeing are under the test of court. Sub judice, he has said it.
No, Philip. This issue of yours is not
Sub-judice.
before the court. It's not before any court.
You get it?
The issue of the order you issued yesterday, that comedic order, it's not before the court. What's before the court is the order which which council made. I don't know they were part of it, expelling the Attorney General. That's one which
But
is
I,
before
but
the
I,
court.
but I think you're equally being awkward in calling an executive order from your acting president.
No, it's not.
You don't
you
recognize
see, Simon, today anyone who can wake up, tomorrow I can wake up and say I'm the president of Uganda. Does that make me president of Uganda? It doesn't. And so he woke up on Sunday and decided that he has expelled everyone. You are asking him which council members endorsed his decision. He's quiet because we can't mention them. They do not exist.
Council, please go ahead.
Like
it's your turn. It's his turn. Jude, it's his turn.
Mr. Jude, if you endorsed the Law Society to start issuing illegal orders, then you run to court. The order I issued, its test should go before the court. As simple as that. But what is the bigger question?
Okay, where do you derive the motivation to even call yourself an acting president? Isn't this really offensive to hundreds who voted for Semakade?
That's why I've said whoever is affected by that order should be running to court.
No, you are going to go to court because they have already expelled you.
Court.
It's you who will go to court.
They should be running to court. I issued an order.
Okay.
They issued an order when they are expelled.
As things stand, there was a counter-executive order that suspended you.
By majority of council members. That's important.
Okay.
That is information is not privy to.
Are you aware you were expelled? You were suspended by a resolution.
I am the convener of council meetings.
It doesn't matter.
I am the convener of council meetings.
So you think a convener cannot be suspended?
I am the convener of council
so
meetings.
A council member
then it should tell you or it should talk to you to what kind of leader you have.
Maybe
immediately you enter office, you expel the SG and the Attorney General. When you come back to office, you expel the CEO. Immediately, as you're in the bush, you expel other members. What kind of leader do you have now? That's the leadership experiment that we are into. And we need to test it.
Okay, what's the spirit behind your expulsion of your president? Do you recognize Semakade as a president of the Uganda Law Society?
As of 28th September, until an order was issued,
by
him.
By the secretary.
He says because he's the convener.
Society, consensus of council members.
Which members?
Council members.
Which members?
Council members.
Please, which members?
Council members.
Kindly mention the name.
Council members.
Why are you hesitant to mention?
I speak for council.
Okay.
I speak for
which
council.
Members?
I speak for council, and I gave a position of council.
Which members?
Mr. Kagwanjala, do not take people off the key issue.
No. Which members endorsed the resolution to expel Semakade?
The reasons were given. I speak for council.
Simon, I think he has made his point.
Okay.
I have challenged you to produce the minutes.
I think he has made his point. I need to come in.
I have challenged you to produce the minutes.
Is there a minute to the effect that resolved that Semakade should be expelled?
I have told you I speak council position.
Okay. So, was there a sitting of any kind?
I speak council position. Do not divert from the key issue right now.
We're just going to take a very short break. And I want to tell our viewers out there that Afromobile is now re-energized ahead of the festive season. So we have a new Afromobile, which is another very fantastic app, very, very, very up to speed, and catch up the conversations all over the world with our new Afromobile. Uninstall the old one, let's get the new one, and let's get the vibe going. Good morning. Welcome back as we continue looking at the suspension, or rather the anxiety that is building up within the Uganda Law Society in the wake of two expulsions. The one who expelled is now expelled. After the other one expelled, there are very interesting developments. But well, procedurally or otherwise, there are quite a number of questions that I imagine. But what is undeniable now is that Uganda Law Society is in a position where there is a leadership crisis. Do you agree?
I do not agree that there's a leadership crisis. We can have a debate on the quality of leaders we have. Okay? We can have that debate. For us members who are in the membership, obviously we are concerned. If, for example, we voted for a secretary, and then he starts issuing the sorts of funny and comic documents he's circulating all over the place, of course, we are concerned. And I'm sure members are saying, hey, wait, who voted for Mr. Munabi Philip? And is this what we expected of him? So to that extent, yes, there are concerns from leadership. There are also those who may be concerned that maybe the colorful language used by the president, Mr. Isaac Semakade, is not what they signed up for. We cannot deny that. There are also those. Okay? But that does not constitute a crisis. Uganda Law Society has a clear framework in which we deal with our errant members and leaders. Okay? The most obvious tool, which I'm sure many members are looking forward to using, is requesting for an extraordinary general meeting to deal with these issues. And so it's not that there is
the current situation warrants an extraordinary general meeting.
In fact, generally speaking, through the life of Uganda Law Society, there have always been extraordinary general meetings. I think actually what has been unique about this year, and what looks to have gone into the thinking, why members overwhelmingly elected a very unconventional president. We had a series of happenings earlier this year. On the first occasion, members got signatures calling for an extraordinary general meeting. And then the Attorney General took the Uganda Law Society to court, and he got an injunction stopping the holding of a meeting to discuss an issue. Because I think there were arguments and legitimate concerns from the Attorney General that this meeting was being called to discuss a court case. And instead of letting members meet so that they can say, no, we can't discuss a court case, and they rubbish the complainant's claim, instead the Attorney General took the route of going to court and getting an injunction against a meeting of Uganda Law Society. It was, of course, very strange. So, but many members, many of us, including myself, we had also felt that a member getting signatures and wanting to have a meeting to discuss the conduct of a judge in the context of a particular court matter was really a bit of a stretch and unlawful. But we had denied opportunity because of an injunction to go and raise our objections.
As a member of the Uganda Law Society.
Yes, but wait, I'm still moving ahead. Then, after that, a few other members requested an extraordinary general meeting, and they got the signatures to discuss the threats to judicial independence. Then two of our members went back to court and got an injunction that also stopped the holding of that meeting. And the impression was, from the membership, that our leaders then appeared to be colluding with the people who are going to court to get these orders. In other words, it created a situation where it looked like our leaders, who should be taking, in fact, who should be taking the lead in addressing threats to rule of law, continued disregard for human rights, threats to judicial independence, it appeared our leaders had other priorities that were not that. And therefore, they were looking at those of us who were yearning to have a discussion in the context of law society about those three questions as people who are simply irritants. And when that happened, I think a number of members were very concerned. And no wonder members thought we now need someone very unconventional who can bang the tables, because clearly the room for decorum has been closed.
Okay.
That was the intention.
As a member of the Uganda Law Society, do you think you're now getting the true test of radicalness? The radicalness that you voted for?
Actually, for the radicalness which members voted for, I think they are still waiting, because for them what they wanted, they want people to understand the frustrations.
So this is what radicalness means. This is what radicalness means, that anyone can issue executive orders.
No, this one is comedy. The one of Philip is comedy. It's not radicalness. There's a difference between the two. A radicalness is that ability to confront the powers that be and make your point.
Philip,
I'm not my point.
No, I'll bring you in. I'll bring you in shortly. Philip, there is every sense, going by the sentiments of different lawyers, that this is an aborted coup. Do you intend to reconsider your position?
Let me pick it from where he stopped. He said, the radicalism they voted for means you need a leader who can stand up against the system and say no. You get it? I stood up against my president, Semakade.
So that is what radicalism means.
Who is the system? Semakade is the system.
Listen. And brought out an issue that shows you that there is a leadership issue in ULS. We cannot be demanding for good leadership out there if we don't have good leadership within the society. I am the secretary. We have never convened any meeting. I issued a notice. I drafted a notice to call for the EGM, shared it with council. I have severally requested that council endorses that we call for that meeting, and all that has been shelved. What happens? You enter council and someone reads the document and it is out on social media. You get it? Let me tell you.
You are more of a lone wolf in this.
Let me tell you.
Semakade has the numbers.
Actually, no, listen.
Munabi is out in the cold.
Listen, now the society should understand that I am this type of Semakade they need. Listen. I can use the same, and I am using, let me use national TV to call upon all our stakeholders. The Office of the Attorney General, the Office of the Judiciary, the Office of the ODPP, you get it? That the outcry, the rallying cry meant that we need to address issues that affect our practice area. You get it?
Okay.
Not just...
But your attempt aborted.
Listen.
It is botched.
Mr. Let's go to the grand scheme
He's
of
not
things.
worried about the membership, but
Let us
about
go.
DPP, Attorney General.
Let us go to the grand
Those are
scheme
not
of
your members,
things.
Phil.
Listen, this is where we practice from. As I moved in,
Those
you are
you
informing.
see there is a difference
Listen.
between a stakeholder and a member.
Will you listen to me?
Listen, this judiciary is your
Just cutting me
stakeholder.
short.
You get it? There is backlog within the judiciary.
So who
you get
is,
it? Are you the moderator?
Okay,
Are you the moderator?
Allow him to submit.
Are you the moderator? There is backlog within the judiciary. You get it? I don't just stand on TV. I don't just stand on radio, on X Space, and say there is backlog. I need to call the judiciary. We have had several engagements. We've had several engagements. And the judiciary is also saying, now how can you as lawyers help us? Now this is the issue. Right now, instead of our leader calling for reconciliation or forming a mediation discussion around the issues around Uganda Law Society, he is just escalating it to the society. You get it? But listen, that does not address the major issues. I have been on council. In the very first week that we came into office, the judiciary issued an invitation to the President, Uganda Law Society, to engage in the annual performance report that the judiciary itself was crying. Our voice as Uganda Law Society had to be heard in that meeting through the President. He made a no-show.
How about a notion that this is an extended hangover from the old regime where you were an active member?
I have been an active member of Uganda Law Society from the presidentship of Mr. Jimara Senior Council. And actually, when I came into the elections, people thought I was even a member. You get it? But the leadership issue that is building up right now should tell you that lawyers fear to address it through means and channels of proper governance.
But what you can't dismiss is that there is that hangover, and you're doing this in bad faith, given that you subscribe to the old leadership.
I do not. And when we went into the election, everyone, actually my opponents, were saying Philip is a proxy of the, I don't know what, past regime. Oundo. Who? Oundo is former president.
Yes. That you are a proxy of the Oundos.
No, I stand by my conscience.
Okay. There is a sense that Philip is pained by the way things are running within the society. and is trying to restore sanity within the society. That is one. Two, there is also that school of thought that there is a lot of spite happening brewing within the Uganda Law Society. What's your take?
No, there are two things. Any member of council can be aggrieved. That's okay. That is fine.
Law Society.
Any member of law society can
Yeah.
be aggrieved. Any member of council can be aggrieved with how the leadership is running affairs. We have these debates always happen, and I remember when Uganda Law Society, during the leadership of Francis Jumara, participated in challenging the constitutional amendment bill which removed the age limits. Even that time, there are some council members who were saying, no, these are political things, we shouldn't be working well with stakeholders.
Okay.
And yet, Simon, less than 2 weeks ago, Isaac had a meeting with the Chief Justice. That's public knowledge. And he has been trying to reach out. Like I have said, we can always criticize the manner in which he uses speech, and I'm very sure members are reaching out to him and also encouraging him to change. And also, if he flouts the law as an individual, that's not on law society. That can always be addressed. But what we cannot accept as members, and what the public should not be duped into believing, is that there is some sort of crisis, and somehow Philip is the good one, the others are all evil. No.
Okay.
Philip is the bad one. He was trying to engage in a coup using crude and amateurish methods. He has failed,
Yes.
he's embarrassed, and he should be resigning.
Yes.
Where things stand, you're now embattled on all fronts. The coup has failed. You've also been suspended. What is your next step?
Now, Mr.
Maybe he should go to court.
Mr.
Hold
That's
on,
what you were
hold
saying.
on. Allow me.
Mr. Kagwanjala, the challenge is that we are veering off the bigger picture.
What is the bigger picture?
The bigger picture is the leadership crisis in Uganda Law Society.
Yeah, but you can't fix it
You
arbitrarily.
get it? It's the bigger, that's the order. Listen, that's the mandate we were given. Protest. Protest
To do things
against the system.
rudimentarily?
Protest. You get it? Protest. And members have accepted that.
Okay, you've
You get
tested the waters and you realize it's backfiring.
Backfiring on who? Backfiring on who?
It's very unpopular.
Backfiring on who?
I mean, the kind of backlash that you're getting.
maybe over the last, please try to understand, we have stakeholders that we work with. Over the last few days, we have had over 18 entities coming up to demand for an apology from the president of Uganda Law Society, Semakadi. He has said here,
And before the ink dries,
he has said here that they are trying to reach out to him. As council, we try to do that. You get it? Now, remorsefulness, nostalgia would demand that just come out and say, I am sorry. Should that take a full year? Even if I was working with the Pope, I as Philip Munabi, and I see him taking things the wrong way, I would stand up against my feet.
yeah, but look, what happens when you resolve things internally before they explode? And two, aren't you really going for Semakade too early into his leadership? Why don't you
But
give
you
him
see-
chance to adapt?
No, listen. You said we were all voted. The right thing would be, when we enter council, we align our agenda to the membership. Let me tell you something for a fact. When we went for the induction, we agreed as council that, okay, Philip Munabi, you seem to be so interested about membership affairs and benefit. You get it? Take that lead. Over the period, we have successfully been organizing CLE trainings and engaging in many other activities. But
So this success is
listen,
attributed to council,
listen
not to Munabi.
to council.
Yes.
And I have said we. You get it? Over the period, we also face internal challenges. We work with entities like UN Women who support our legal aid projects. The vice president, who is the chair of the legal aid docket of Uganda Law Society, has severally been coming to meetings and telling us, hey guys, donors are saying they are postponing this meeting, they don't understand our leadership, and we have been telling him, how do we now go about this? You get it? As the vice president, have you talked to the president? No, we shall engage him. Up to when? We are losing donors. Donors support legal aid, which supports the indigent. Legal aid employs our fellow advocates. You get it? We are losing sponsors of events. These are the people who support the society. The society does not stand on its own. That's what we should understand. If we are taking that direction and it is creating praise on one side through people who are not even members of the society, but then it is creating denigration of the society on the other side, where support comes in, then we need to address it front on.
There is every indicator that you're a proxy of the anti-Semakade forces.
No. And let me tell you, Mr. Semakade has sat before me, and I have told him, Mr. Semakade, I was voted just like you are voted. And I have always told council, let us learn to do formal council business formally. We might have differences. I used to work with a friend, very brotherly friend. We slept on the same decker, Mr. Mohanj Moses of Uganda Boxing Federation. When we were doing formal boxing federation business, it is formal. Out we can laugh, we can disagree, but formal business, if it means calling for a meeting, convene it properly. Because council is constituted, convene it properly, notify the secretary to issue a notice to convene the meeting. If it is not happening, then understand the bigger picture.
So
that the leadership experiment, let me conclude my point. The bigger picture is the leadership experiment we went into on 28th of September has failed. Listen. And do you know what is happening? Do you know what is happening? Do you know what is happening? Is bringing up such members to silence the voices of the people who air out issues that affect membership affairs.
Mr. Munabi,
you get it?
Simon, Mr. Munabi has fully confirmed that
Mr. Jude,
his leadership has been a failure.
Listen, Mr. Jude, let me ask you, Mr. Jude.
Yes, please.
Let me ask you.
Bring it on.
The office of the DPP issued a letter demanding for an apology from the President Uganda Law Society. If today all prosecutors said you uttered vulgarities against the DPP, as prosecutors we are not handling any file tomorrow, does that serve your interests better as a person who does criminal practice?
Oh yes.
Does it?
Yes, it does. Because prosecutors don't show up, my cases won't be, it means that the trials won't take place.
But the prosecutors are saying,
not to be
but the prosecutors, the prosecutors are saying, up to that level,
prosecutors members of Uganda Law Society.
up to that level,
prosecutors are members.
they are members.
Are you sure?
They voted. They voted.
Look at it. At the end
They
of
participated in our election.
For whom does the DPP operate? The DPP is a body that is largely independent of the bar. I'm not like we said at the very start. There can be there is legitimate criticism to be made for the use of colorful language by Isaac Semakade. But what we should not tolerate, and
why are you shielding it? Why are you shielding it? Come out, Mr. Jude, stand on national TV and say Isaac Semakade come out and apologize. I task you to say it. I task you to say it. If you have, say it. The camera is there.
I don't have to be the one. By the way,
you are disassociating. You are also disassociating. Second, if you can't do that, I task you to make a video challenge of the words that Semakade stated. Make a video challenge. TV is here. Make a video challenge. You have started pushing society. Listen, you have pushed society leadership to the social media. I task you to make a challenge, a video. Let me record you. I want to record you stating the words that Mr. Semakade stated.
Yes.
Start.
Viewers, we have a crisis in Uganda Law Society. We have a secretary who is an imposter. Don't believe him. He's engaging in comedy.
Yourself can't utter the words that the person you're on TV defending
don't take him
to be a
serious.
champion of
Uganda
indecorum
Law Society is
said.
doing
Council
work.
Philip,
Yes, Mr. Kagwanjala.
are you the president of Uganda Law Society?
Mr. Kagwanjala, there is a leadership crisis.
It's a yes or no. Are you
Listen.
my president or you are not?
Let me explain.
No, it's a
Let
simple
me
question.
explain.
Please answer.
Let me explain.
Let
Are
me answer
you
the
the
question.
president of Uganda Law
Your
Society?
invitation was clear. There is a crisis in Uganda Law Society.
So he's
I have-
just a member like me. That's what he wants to say.
A lot of social media comments. He doesn't know the law. Let me tell you, I know the
The
law.
grammar of your statements,
Listen,
oh,
I know the law,
it's quite
but I
embarrassing.
also know how to pull your leg
No,
to
no,
me. I also know how to pull your leg to me.
At least surely our secretary, Philip, our secretary.
Listen.
You even
Okay.
get the
You're a
problem.
champion
okay.
of constitutional
You're
law.
interrupting.
You're a
Even
champion
get
of
the
constitutional
problem. You're
law.
interrupting.
Now I'm putting the Keynesian theory to test. I have given it to you. Listen, you get it? You get it? And he also he claims he knows the law and he knows it. You get it?
Okay.
We are going into an EGM. You get it?
Who is calling it?
But actually, Philip, this is what I propose, Simon. For me, I think the EGM is important. But clearly, my humble request to Mr. Philip Munabi, he can help the membership to resolve part of the issues at the EGM.
Is that how?
Like he has made it clear.
Is that how a member loses council position?
No. You
How?
help us and resign. You
Is
could
it
help us
how
and
a
resign.
member loses council position?
Help us and resign. Let's not waste time. Philip.
Mr. Jude.
Why should members?
Jude,
why
you should be
members-
calling. You should be calling for your leader to apologize.
No.
Cannot.
State of affairs in
Let's start
Uganda Law
with you.
Society.
We need to start
Good
with
morning.
you. We need to start with you.
Before you come to me.
No.